Okay, good morning. Thank you all for coming. Well, it's afternoon now, 2 minutes after 12. We do have a chance to hear from three great speakers this morning about education in our area. I would like to tell you that the forum will be rebroadcast for viewing on the following deals. Channel 22 at 10:30, 6:30, and 9:30, and the city's webpage, which is www.poncacityoK.gov, and then there's a link to Ponca City's Facebook page, which is City of Ponca City OK, and a link to City of Ponca City's Twitter at poncacityoK.gov. So we are social media'd out on this deal. You'll have plenty of chances. Tell your friends that could not be here. We need to get into the program now. We are going to have Dr. Cheryl Evans from the Northern Oklahoma College, president there, is going to talk first. She's going to speak about NOC, and she's actually also taken on a little presentation about the University Center since Adam Lemming, who's the director there, is at Oklahoma Leadership. Then we'll hear from Shelley Arrett, who's in the administration group at the Ponca City Schools, and also from Superintendent Bruce DeMuth, Pioneer Tech. So, Sheriff?
Well, good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me here today. It's always a privilege to talk to the folks in Ponca City, and especially about higher education. And so I'm going to start off and just share a little bit about some basic information about Northern, and then I'll conclude with some information about the UC, as well as some legislative issues that are important to us this year. Just a quick tidbit on the history of Northern. It started in 1901, and it started as a preparatory school for the University of Oklahoma originally, and that's why our colors are red and white. We also are fully accredited through the Higher Learning Commission. We have about 5,000 students, and we have 3 locations. Our home campus is in Tonkawa, and it was established in 1901. We serve a couple thousand students on campus and through our extended services here in the Kay County area. Our Enid campus started in 1999. We purchased the old Phillips University campus there. And Stillwater, we started there in 2003 with the Gateway program, a partnership with Oklahoma State University. We serve approximately 2,000 students every year there. The mission of our institution basically is to be affordable, accessible, and to provide a quality education. We are a 2-year public institution, so we award 2 types of degrees: an associate degree in applied science, and we do that through our partners with Career Tech, and then also an associate of arts and sciences. And that degree transfers on for other 4-year institutions to take care of the general education. A couple of years ago, we adopted a new tagline called Life Changing. And after a lot of discussion and focus groups and things, we decided that that's what we do. That pretty much sums up our mission, because we believe that education does change lives. And our students, once they attend our institution, when they leave, they're a different person and they have more opportunities. We've had a couple of really nice recognitions at the college recently. There's a group out of Washington, D.C. It's called the Aspen Institute, and it's a nonprofit organization. Every year, all the colleges across the country have to submit data to the federal government, and this organization evaluates the data on about 1,100 community colleges, and they identify the top 150 schools in the country. And for the 3rd time in a row, Northern has been listed among that group. And we're extremely proud of that, because it's what we strive to do, to graduate students, to award them the degrees that they've earned, help them stay in school, and then to have a good outcome afterwards, which could be go straight to the workforce, or could be go right on to the next 4-year institution to complete a bachelor's degree and beyond. A couple of weeks ago, we heard from another organization, and quite frankly, we weren't familiar with this group, but we were excited to hear about what they've done. And they evaluated 700 community colleges across the nation, and they looked at how much does it cost to go to the school, and how does that compare to the salary that the students earn once they graduate, how many students enroll and graduate or transfer to a four-year institution. And they created a top 10 list out of the country and identified Northern Oklahoma College as number 2 in the nation for these particular indicators. So we were really pleased because that's right on track with our mission. We do have a local board of regents. In Oklahoma, there's 25 colleges and universities, and there's the state regents, and we've been blessed from Kay County to have a couple of great regents. Carl Renfro used to serve on the state regents, and now Ike Glass is currently a member of that, and they do the policy and accept the funding for all the institutions across the state. But for Northern Oklahoma College, we're fortunate to have our own local governing board, and Jeff Cowan currently is the chair of our board, and Linda Brown with Evans and Associates is our vice chair. Linda's been a long-term member of our board, and she's been instrumental in shaping the future of our institution. We're very proud of that. Tom Duggar was recently reported. He's a CPA from Stillwater. And Keith James from Pond Creek and Lynn Smith from Enid have been long-term members of our board as well. They are appointed by the governor to serve a 5-year term. We also have a foundation that we're extremely proud of. Last year we celebrated our 50th anniversary for the Northern Oklahoma College Foundation, and we do have local representatives that serve on that as well. Mr. Mike Loftus is our chair this year, along with some other local folks, Mark Denton, Carol Deemer, Tom Poole, who had been with the institution previously. We have him drive back to be a part. We really enjoy having him back. Jim Rogers and several others help support our foundation. And this year, for the first time in the foundation's history, we went over $8 million in assets. And the majority of that funding goes for scholarships for students. Northern's budget, we have money several different ways, and I'll just kind of walk through here real quickly and show you. But I think a lot of people are surprised to learn about how much it takes to operate an education institution. Our education and general budget is $26 million. Our auxiliary budget, which is made up of all our other income from housing and food and bookstores and things like athletics, things like that. And then we have capital funds, which come from school land money. And so our total budget is over $74 million. Of our operational funds, the largest portion goes obviously to personnel for instruction, over $11 million. And I like to, when I have the opportunity to visit with a group like this, share how important education in general is as an employer, as an economic engine, and also, more importantly, as a workforce pipeline, because our students are the product that become the employees of our region. And so that's really important to us and to the region as well. We're also proud that Northern takes a lot of our own funds, over $2.5 million each year, for scholarships and fellowships for the students that attend our institution at all our different sites as well. This shows you a little bit of how our operating fund is compiled. 60% of the funds now comes from tuition and fees, and 39.5% comes from state appropriated funds. And then an area that we're hoping to grow and we're working on is grants, contracts, and reimbursements. And so that shows you how our funding, it's state appropriations for education, as you all are aware, have shrunk over the last decade. In fact, our numbers have just flipped because 10 years ago we would have had 60% come from state appropriations and 40% from tuition and fees. We have many different degree options at Northern, and you can see the list here. Business and general education and nursing and process technology are some of the larger programs that we have at Northern. Our process tech program was started as a partnership with then Conoco, and it continues today with Phillips 66. And I believe I was visiting with somebody from out there recently, and I think about 70% of their employees in that particular area are Northern graduates. We can't do anything without our partners, and here you can see a long listing of our partners, but we depend heavily on our career tech partners for our applied degrees. We have our partnerships with our four-year institutions, in particular Northwestern Oklahoma State University. We have a bridge program with them, which is an articulation and scholarship program. Northern students receive scholarships from Northwestern when they complete an associate degree and then go to Northwestern, and it's any of their campuses. It's institution to institution, but the majority of them happen to be in Enid since we both have campuses there. And then Oklahoma State University with our Gateway program. And we do all sorts of things with OSU. In particular, we help some students that aren't prepared to start out at the university get prepared and go across the street. We help some students who went to the university and maybe weren't as diligent in their studies as they might have been and need to get out of probation and take care of some business. So we have lots of students that cross back and forth. We're very orange in Stillwater. And then Meridian and Pioneer and Autry are our main career tech partners, although we have relationships with several others, as you can see there. We also work with the high schools. We do concurrent enrollment, and the UC is our big partner here in Ponca City for concurrent enrollment. High school seniors and some juniors can take coursework through Northern by attending the UC there. And we also work in Newkirk with our Gear Up program, which is a program that is specifically designed to help students, first generation, economically challenged families, learn about how to get to college and get all the skills that they need to do so. So that's been a successful program for us as well. We're very proud. You might have seen in the paper yesterday, or this morning, the press release came out yesterday about Complete College America goals in the state of Oklahoma. And Governor Fallon, I think it's been 3 years now, asked for all the institutions of post-secondary education to focus on increasing the number of students who complete their certificates or degrees. And the goal each year is to add 1,700 to the total number until I believe it's 2020 when that finishes up. And it was announced yesterday that Oklahoma was supposed to, the minimum was 1,700, and we had 3,500 students complete. So we well exceeded the goal, and we're on our way to achieve that goal because Oklahoma has a lower ratio of individuals who seek post-secondary education, and so we're trying to change that because we have lots of great jobs and we need more qualified workers for those jobs. But last year, it was a record number of degrees awarded for Northern Oklahoma College. We were able to award 961 associate degrees. And this slide just tells you a little bit about Complete College America, where we focus on readiness and help build bridges between partners. And I think people have been surprised to learn how many partnerships already existed, and so we're just making people more aware and then building and expanding those partnerships as well to make that happen. This fall, Northern Oklahoma College started a diversity council, and its members include faculty, staff, and administrators, and we have 10% of our Tonkawa campus population are Native American students, and we recognize that we want to reach out and serve them more efficiently and effectively. And so that was the start of our conversation for this council. But then we also started to recognize that we have a lot of other populations that we also might want to serve in different ways as well. So this just kind of shows you a little bit about our different populations, and our international student population is really growing. And once again, this is through our partnership with Oklahoma State. They had a large Saudi population, and the Saudi government pays for scholarships for their students, but you have to fill out paperwork and be approved. And they only last year had 7 community colleges in the country that they approved, and this year they approved Northern Oklahoma College, and we have about 80 new students this year from Saudi. 50 or so of them are in Stillwater, but the others are spread out across our other campuses. This shows you just kind of a visual about our enrollment and where it is. And you can see that we're pretty evenly spread on our locations, with Stillwater having the largest head count, but services extending across the way. And we serve almost 200 students at the University Center. Just over half the students that attend the University Center are Northern students, which makes sense because then they go on to become Northwestern students through our Bridge program as well. This shows you some numbers about our concurrent enrollment. We have about 260 seniors taking advantage of concurrent enrollment this year. This shows you the cost for attending Northern, and we do have different prices. The fees are different at each of our campuses because there are different expenses associated with each campus, and that our room and board is pretty close the same, and the tuition rate is actually the same as the fees at different, as you can see on this slide. We are a great value. Tuition is $74 a credit hour, and then you can see the variance in fees. In Stillwater, our fees equal OSU fees because our students in Stillwater, except for attending classes, and they can't play varsity athletics, and they can't be in the Greek system, but everything else, they have OSU IDs, OSU housing, etc. So they're very integrated into the community there. Once again, this is just another breakdown of the costs, but you can see that everything that you need to attend college you can do for under $9,000 a year at Northern Oklahoma College. Live, eat, buy your books, pay your fees, tuition, everything, which we are the second most affordable college in the state of Oklahoma. Carl Albert likes to stay like 10 cents cheaper than we are. And this is the non-resident tuition and fees. Just a little more about our Tonkawa campus. We have 6 residence halls, and we're in the process of building a new residence hall, which will be open next fall for our students. We have 150 students that work on our campus. We have 6 teams, men's and women's soccer, softball, baseball, and men's and women's basketball. And we're the Mavericks, and we're red and white. And once again, that's from that crimson, which is interesting because now our main partner is Oklahoma State. So I met with some folks at OSU last week, and I said, "Man, when are you going to change that red?" I said, "Well, I bet that probably never happens." But so this is what our new dorm is going to look like in Tonkawa, and 84 students will be able to enjoy suite-type living there. Our Enid campus, we have 3 residence halls and about 185 students that live there. We have 35 student jobs. We have men's and women's basketball, softball, and baseball in the Enid campus. And that's kind of another interesting thing about Northern is I think there's one other community college in the country that has 2 sets of athletics. We do everything at least twice and most things 3 times at Northern. So I'm in my car quite a bit, but we all enjoy OU, OSU, Bedlam. But let me tell you, when the Jets play the Mavericks, it gets intense. And I actually don't sit on either side. I just stand up and visit with folks because everybody's like, "Oh, she's cheering for them. Oh, she's cheering for them." But no, it's fun. But we are blessed with not only great athletes, and the teams have found good levels of success, but in the classroom they are doing well also. And so we have a new athletic director, Jeremy Hayes, and he's tracking their success in the classroom, and we've emphasized that priority to our coaches. And I think some of the faculty are impressed and surprised by the students there. And this is what the new dorm will look like in Enid. They are the same floor plan, but because the campuses have different exterior appearances, just the exterior treatment's a little different. Here's a little bit about the economic impact of Northern. Last year in Kay County, we worked with 111 vendors, and we spent $2.1 million. And across the state of Oklahoma, we spent $13 million. So interesting to see how those dollars flow back into the communities we serve. This is a little bit about our payroll. We have over a $6 million payroll in Kay County. We have a great program called Presidential Partners, and many of you that I see here support that program, and we appreciate it. It enables us to do some things above and beyond what we can do with normal funding. And one of the things we do is support the President's Leadership Council. We have about 40 students across the institution, some on every campus. And these are kind of our cream of the crop students. And they are the ones, when you attend events in the Renfro Center with the red or the black shirts on, that are so polite and serve your food. And so they earn scholarships, but they earn their scholarships because they are constantly representing us and doing a fantastic job. So if you're not a member of Presidential Partners, I think we just started inviting people to join us again this last week, and we'd love to have you be a part of that program. I mentioned earlier about our foundation. You can see the growth of that through the years, and how many scholarships that we awarded. Last year, the foundation awarded $143,000 in scholarships. And once again, partnering with the UC Foundation, this last year we have worked out a partnership to help identify their students and process some of their awards through the funds that you raise here in Ponca City for students specifically that are attending the UC. We have a group called the Central Hall Society, and these are individuals who are forward-thinking and in their long-term planning have identified Northern Oklahoma College as an entity that they would like to support. And so I see, again, some folks who've made that decision, and we're always looking for others who want to support higher education. So you can visit with me later if you're interested in that. We have a great alumni association. We have a new director this year, Jill Green. Kirby Tickle moved over to the foundation to work full-time, although everything we do at Northern is teamwork. I'm just blessed with the greatest employees because they all wear so many hats and do so many things and work so hard. And I know you all see them all out and about in the community as well, and that's important to our institution. This is just a quick picture of that group I mentioned, PLC. And we have some events coming up that we'd love to see you on our campuses for. A great tradition at Northern that was established by Carl and Carolyn Renfro is our lectureship series. And invitations will be going out for this really soon. But please mark your calendars because I think this one is going to sell out very quickly. Secretary Andy Card is going to be our speaker. And if you're not familiar with his name, you are familiar with his image and his role on 9/11 when President Bush was reading books to that elementary school. Andy Card is the individual who whispered in his ear what had just taken place. And I had the opportunity to hear him speak at a conference last year, and it was incredible. It moved us to tears, and it made you feel so proud to be an American. So I hope that you all will come join us for that. I asked Adam to share with me some information about the UC specifically that he'd like me to talk about, and these are the items that he listed. He wanted us to speak specifically about the partnerships between Northern and Northwestern. The UC is really like none other. There is one other higher education center in the state, but the partnership and the support that this community has provided that organization, there's nobody that compares to that. And what that does is provide local opportunities for students to attend college, and particularly non-traditional students who have what it takes to complete, but because life circumstances have gotten in the way one way or another, they can still take care of their family, take care of their job, and earn their degrees right here in Ponca City. And the majority of those that complete their degrees here stay right here. They learn here, they earn here. And it has just celebrated an anniversary recently, and that was great. Wonderful timeline that they put on the wall there. The UC is open 7 days a week, and they make that student-centered, student-friendly, because those individuals that attend there need access to those computers or even just a quiet place to study and get their work done. They do have a mix of ITV courses that are sent in from Northwestern and Northern and other partners that they have. And then they also have live instructors on site. I think a great thing that happened the last couple of years has been the partnership with Northwestern with their BSN program. And once again, the community of Ponca City, the leaders stepped up and helped raise money so that the UC could have a full-time faculty member in nursing on site here in Ponca City in partnership with the hospital. And I think that's working out really well. There are 7 students in that program at this time, and it's in its 2nd year. Scholarships, this is such a generous community. Over 50 scholarships were awarded this fall from funds that were raised through the UC Foundation to benefit students attending college right here in Ponca City. And I mentioned earlier the concurrent enrollment and how important that is. There are 25 concurrently enrolled students this fall, and the UC does give a $100 scholarship to each of those students. And something that's new on the horizon that's still being developed, and this is a partnership with Pioneer Tech and OSU OKC, is a wind turbine program that will be offered here, I think, starting this spring. So all kinds of good things continue to happen at the University Center. I will also highlight just some of the legislative priorities that are important this year. One is to ensure that there's enough funding for the colleges to operate at the level they need to so that we can continue to meet and exceed our Complete College America goals, so that we can continue to build the qualified workforce for our state. And Oklahoma's Promise. Seems like every year there's a couple of legislators or two that want to tinker with this very successful program and change the qualifications or change the amount of money or change the salaries for the families that qualify. And this is a commitment that's been made to these students. For the students to earn the award, they can enroll in it in 8th, 9th grade, 8th, 9th, and 10th grade. But they have to make their grades, take the right coursework, stay out of trouble, stay off drugs, all those sorts of things. So the results, the stats on these kids who go through Oklahoma's Promise is very, very good, and it's really encouraging. We also, every year, it seems like now, and probably forever will, continue to deal with the issue of some legislators wanting concealed weapons on our campuses at the Career Tech and at the colleges. And Bruce and I both serve on a safety task force where our education entities across the state are partnering to help keep our campuses safe. But we just, you can't really get academics to agree on very many things at the same time, whether it's a bunch of administrators, a bunch of faculty members. But this is the one issue that there are 25 college presidents in the state of Oklahoma, and every single one thinks it's a bad idea to allow access to guns to students and employees on our campuses. The rules that exist right now are very efficient. If you have a concealed carry license, if you keep that locked in your trunk or in your vehicle, you don't have to go home and dump it and come back if you're on one of our sites. Just keep it locked in your vehicle. If you have an extreme issue where there's a justifiable reason why you need for a specific period of time to carry your concealed carry weapon, you can petition the president of the institution of the campus where you happen to be visiting, and they can extend to you that right if they agree that that's a reason, and many of our presidents have done that for specific reasons. So the rules that are there are fine, and they're working, and we don't need to change them. But what we do need is for each and every one of you to help us with this story, because the legislators listen to you. I don't know about you, but if I'm the teacher at the front of the room, or I'm a student in the classroom, or it doesn't make me feel safer that somebody else has a gun next to me, and I may or may not know that they have that gun on them. And I think OU had a great example this last year. They had some equipment backfire. People thought it was gunshots. SWAT team was there in 4.5 minutes, and it was a false alarm. But if you'd have had several people that had guns when the SWAT team arrived, they don't know who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, and somebody innocent could be injured when they are trying to help. Utah actually did enact this, and in the first week of school, there was a faculty member who shot himself in the foot in the classroom. And then also in Idaho, a secondary school allowed this in their schools, and the second week of school, a faculty member shot themselves in the bathroom in the leg. So those are just some examples of why, but this is a very important issue. There's an interim study on October 8th. We'd ask that you help us make the case that we think our campuses are safer without additional guns on them right now. So one other issue, tuition setting priority. Oklahoma has the 5th most affordable higher education in the country. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce identified that. And every year you kind of hear rumblings about maybe tuition should go back to the legislature to be set. And when that was the case, obviously on election years, whether there was need or not, there was never additional funds, either through appropriation or through tuition. Institutions of higher education deal with mandatory cost increase just like everybody in your business and everything. And so that's another issue that we probably see coming as well. But thank you very much for allowing me to share with you. And I think I've taken 5 more minutes than I was supposed to, but I apologize for that. But this is a great place to educate students in Kay County, and we appreciate all of your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl's a great partner for Ponca City, and especially for our chamber, she and her staff. She's has to slip out. Her father's being honored in his hometown today, so she's got an event to go to. Our next speaker is Shelley Arrett. Shelley is in charge of curriculum and what? Student resources, human resources. I thought you boss my buddies around and get them in that are trying to substitute. Take them in there and yeah, okay. I have 2 friends that are retired teachers that are substituting, and Shelley assigns them every morning. So that's the biggest job, is getting those 2 straightened out. She's also an OSU fan. So I was telling some people this morning that I went to that game last night, and we only have 2 problems with our football team. One is we can't block anybody, and 2 is we can't stop anybody. So other than that, we're okay. Shelley?
Good afternoon. I'm very happy to be here today. I'm actually stepping in for Dr. Pennington, who is out of town, and he is the true guru as far as educational legislation, so I am definitely the pinch hitter today. But I want to start out today talking to you just a little bit about some of the great things that are happening in Ponca City Public Schools. Obviously, we are the largest district in the county with over 5,000 students. We have 2 high schools. we have one high school, 2 elementary schools, and 1 high school, 2 middle schools, and 7 elementary schools. I'll get it straight. We have 10 sites, and then we have 2 remote sites. We have Teen Pep, and then we have Wildcat Academy. And as Barry said, I am the Director of Human Resources and TLE for Ponca City Public Schools. I taught in this district for many years. I was an elementary principal at Union. I moved to administration in curriculum, and then I'm currently in Human Resources and TLE. One of the great things that I think is happening for our community is that our current superintendent, Dr. David Pennington, is the American Association Superintendents Administrators Group, AASA, and that means he is the national president of this group, and he is a true ambassador for our district. He will put Ponca City on the map, Ponca City Public Schools on the map. He's traveling a lot, speaking about the great things that are happening in Ponca City, so he is a true ambassador for us. I want to talk about great things that are happening in Ponca City because we have very many things that are happening in Ponca City Public Schools that are outstanding. And the first thing I want to talk to you about is Wildcat Academy. Wildcat Academy is our alternative school. And we have students from the high school enrolled in Wildcat Academy that for some reason or another have not been successful at Ponca City High School. You have to interview to get into Wildcat Academy. And we actually just took over our alternative school this past year. We contracted out with another company in 12-13, and we had 1 graduate. And that just wasn't sufficient for our district. So what we decided to do is we decided to take this back over. We named the school Wildcat Academy. The principal is Carla Streeter, and there are 4 other teachers at Wildcat Academy. Currently, we have 60 students enrolled, and I'll have to tell you that in 2014, we had 20 graduates as compared to 1 the year before. And we are very pleased with that. The goal this year is to have 40 graduates, and we think we can do that. The next thing that I want to talk about are our advancements with technology. Technology is high priority in our district. It is the wave of the future. The students that are enrolled in Ponca City Public Schools are digital natives. So we want to offer as much opportunity as we can for our students to learn with technology. We are a 1-to-1 district. That means that our students, grades 8 through 12, all have their own laptop checked out to them. They can take it home with them. Their textbooks are on their laptop. They can access their assignments from their laptop. They can communicate with their teacher from their laptop, which truly makes learning anytime, anywhere learning. And it's been a great success. This year, we actually purchased Chromebooks for West Middle School for our 6th and 7th graders. Every student has a Chromebook, but they stay at school. They don't take those home. All elementary schools have a standalone computer lab or a mobile cart, and all of our elementary schools have iPad carts. So we're very proud of where we're going with technology in the district. We have 3 tech coaches, and these aren't technology technicians. These are coaches to help the teachers implement technology into their instruction. One thing that we're also very proud of, our ACT scores continue to surpass the state average and the national average. This past year, our district average was a 21.4 composite compared to the state average of 20.7 and the national average of 21. We outperformed the state average in every subject as well as the composite, and we're very proud of those results. I want to talk to you a little bit about our capital improvements. We have the safest and the nicest buildings anywhere. Wonderful learning environments for our students. This past year, we just completed a remodel at Union Elementary. What we did was we moved the office to the front of the building, and we rearranged some of the classrooms. It's safer for our offices to be at the front of the building. There is also a lobby guard at Union Elementary. That means that if someone enters the school building, they have to be buzzed in. We're currently doing a remodel at Woodlands Elementary, and many of you may know that Woodlands has moved into Washington Elementary for the year. So we're doing a total remodel there. We're moving the office to the front. We're making some adaptations for ADA. We're putting in some elevators there, and we're adding 4 classrooms. If you ever drive by Lincoln Elementary on West Grand, you'll know that we're currently under construction there. Right now, we're putting in a new HVAC system, a new roof, and a drainage system, and school is in session there. We are doing a complete renovation of the administration building across from East Middle School, which is just catty-cornered here. The plan is for the current, for us to move from the current administration building to the new, probably sometime in February. And the reason that we are moving is we have outgrown the walls in the district. At the old administration building, central administration is housed there. Then we also have our tech area, and our server room is there. What we're going to do is we are going to move our child nutrition department into that building. Currently, they are housed with maintenance, and it's just too packed. We have freezers on the porches. We need some room. So we're going to move child nutrition down to the old administration building. It's possible that we're going to move Wildcat Academy there, and I'll talk to you about that just a little bit later. We recently installed a lobby guard at Poe High, at Ponca City High School. Staff members can get in with their badge, or if you're a visitor, you can use your driver's license, and there is actually a security guard that buzzes everyone in the front door at Ponca City High School now. We do have some future capital improvements in the summer of 2015. We're going to renovate Liberty, make that safer, move the offices to the front, take care of some ADA issues. And then 2015-2016, we're going to do a remodel at Trout Elementary. So when Woodlands moves back home after this school year, we'll move Trout to the Washington building for their renovation for 2015-2016. I want to talk to you just a little bit about legislative issues that are occurring for public schools. Dr. Pennington says this all the time. State aid is the gorilla in the room when it comes to public education. We continually have less state aid than we had before the recession. Our weighted ADM is $240 less than it was in 2008, 2009 per weight. Now, our ADM is our count that we take of our students periodically. It's the data that's collected to ensure that we get our funding. That is weighted as well. So each student is categorized, has a weight based on the grade level that they are in or the category that they are in. Since 2009, or fiscal year 09, the total loss for Ponca City Public Schools is just under $2 million. We're still operating without that additional state aid, and it is certainly cutting into our carryover, which is a huge concern for all public schools. We've got to have supplemental funding to restore fiscal year 15 funding. The current projections that we're getting from COSA right now indicate that we will be down $20 to $30 in our December state aid from what was predicted in the last session. This reduction would result in $248,000 for Ponca City Public Schools. And the reason for this is enrollment continues to increase in Oklahoma. There was $40 million added to the funding formula this year, but there's more students, so that means we have to further spread the piece of the pie. it was not significant enough to help districts. Also, our statewide ad valorem collection is less than projected. Some of the reasons are the elimination of the intangible tax, and of course, collections are down for oil and gas because of the deal with horizontal drilling. Some other pressing issues with public schools, and I'll just talk to you about these one at a time. The elimination of the Common Core state standards. Whatever your political views are on that, it was a big issue for the districts. Our district worked 4 years to prepare to implement the Common Core state standards. We spent hundreds of hours unwrapping standards, rewriting our curriculum maps, writing common formative assessments. We also, from what our calculations indicate, we spent over $3.4 million preparing for Common Core state standard implementation. That's with training, resources, things of that nature. And that's a significant amount. Now we have to go revert back to pass. It took us 4 years to get here, and we just can't revert back overnight. So currently we're embedding pass into our curriculum maps. We're supposed to have new standards in 2016. Oklahoma will be writing their own standards. It's just a hard transition for public schools right now. We recently lost the waiver from the No Child Left Behind flexibility. What this does to us, it forced us to set aside some of our federal dollars, whether we spend them or not. We had to set them aside for specific reasons, whether we spend them or not. And federal dollars are very important to public schools. The Teacher and Leader Effectiveness Act, and I'm not sure if you might know what that is, but it's a law that was designed to improve instruction. And without a doubt, the teacher makes the greatest impact on student learning, and we continually strive to improve instruction. But the Teacher and Leader Effectiveness Act has two components. It has a qualitative component and a quantitative component. The qualitative component basically is determined by the evaluation that the supervisor gives the teacher. Provides feedback. We have feedback based on best practices designed by Robert Marzano, and our instruction in our district is improving. When TLE, or the Teacher and Leader Effectiveness Act, goes into full implementation in 2015-2016, teachers will also have student test scores attached to their evaluation score. That's disturbing for our teachers because the credibility with our state testing is in question right now, and it is highly inequitable because only teachers that teach a subject that is tested will be held to the state testing results. What we'll do is we'll write student learning objectives and student outcome objectives for our teachers that don't teach a state tested subject or grade level. Equitability is tough there. So Oklahoma schools are really concerned about that when the quantitative portion goes into effect for TLE. It's also an unfunded mandate. We have to train our principals, our new principals, each year. It's quite extensive training. It's very rigorous and it's expensive. Every 2 years, all of our administrators have to be recertified, and we have to pay for that as well. Also, our tool that we use, called iObservation, its software is $20,000 a year. So that's a mandate that was unfunded, that is a concern to public schools. I won't go into much of the A through F report card controversy. That's a big issue with public schools. As of last night, you probably heard from the state board meeting, we still do not have a testing vendor. We just don't believe the results are valid and that we should be graded on the state test. Our targets or our cut scores change every year. It's a moving target, so we do not know whether or not we're improving or not. So we don't have a lot of faith, or we don't put a lot of credibility into the A to F report card. We're hoping we have a testing vendor, and there's some controversy over contracting with the testing vendor that we fired twice, CTB McGraw-Hill. So we're up in the air at this point at the state level. Also a concern in Oklahoma is teacher recruitment. As HR director, it was quite interesting filling all of our 54 open positions, but I will have to tell you, we must have gotten the best new teachers out there because they are outstanding. Our friends in Enid Public Schools, who are just a little bit larger than us, started the school year with 23 open vacancies. That's a lot. They had to combine classes. It was tough. They were hired after the school year. Thankfully, we weren't in that position there, but we recruited aggressively and we hired quickly. One thing that we want to do to use as a recruitment tool is to do some things for our teachers. We obviously can't give them a big enough raise to make a difference, but one thing that we're considering doing is opening a daycare for our employees where they could bring their children to the daycare. We've talked about having that at Wildcat Academy. That would be the reason we would move Wildcat Academy back into the old administration building. We're surveying our employees currently to see who might be interested, and we think it'll be a huge benefit to our employees, plus we could use it as a recruitment tool. At the state level, things have just been all over the place. Schools, mandates have changed, issues have changed, requirements have changed. So we believe that it's time for a change at the Oklahoma State Department of Education. This year, we will have a new state superintendent of public instruction. The candidates are Joy Hoffmeister and Dr. John Cox. We think they both will be a great choice. Dr. Pennington wanted me to let you know that he is supporting Joy Hoffmeister. So we're excited about the change. We don't know what the future holds or what the vision will be, but we're up for any task because whatever happens in public education, excellent education will continue. That's just what we do. Thanks so much for having me today.
Thank you, Shelley. A lot of pressing issues for the public schools. I live with the teachers, so I hear about a few of those also. The next speaker is Bruce DeMuth, and Bruce is superintendent of Pioneer Technology Center. Just celebrated his 3rd year anniversary, right? There you go, bud. Congratulations.
I'm very aware of the time. I understand this meeting is supposed to be over in 6 minutes, and I'm going to try to hit that mark if I can. The mission of Pioneer Technology Center is enhancing lives and securing futures, and we work very hard at doing that. You don't need to look at the screen. There won't be a PowerPoint presentation for me today. Rich asked us to talk about some of the highlights of our accomplishments over the last year and then talk about some legislative issues. So I put together a real quick top 10 list of the top 10 accomplishments that we feel like we had at Pioneer Technology Center this past year. And please don't count the list because I actually have 11 things on the list. But looking at the past year, one of the things we're most proud of is that we completed our new health wing. That's going to allow us to add new programs. We're going to be having a open house next Thursday night, October the 2nd, from 4:30 to 6. Molly, you got me mixed up a while ago. We're going to actually cut the ribbon at 5:30, and we're going to have help with all the chambers across our district, people from all of our sending schools, and we'd love to have you come out that night. We'll have good refreshments, and we want to show you our new facility. The second thing I had on my list was that we were named Gold Star School again this year, which is the 4th year in a row that Pioneer Technology Center has been honored with the Gold Star School Award. We got a new award this year from the Southern Region Education Board, Tech Centers That Work. group. That's a national organization. It's not completely the whole nation, but the southern region states. And they have an award for schools for technology centers that integrate rigorous academics into the career tech programs that they have. And we were recognized as one of 8 schools in the nation with what they call their Platinum Achievement Award. And we're very proud of that. Tracy Thorpe, our Executive Director for Instructional Services and Instruction and Support Services, was named the Oklahoma Career Tech Administrator of the Year this past August at our August conference. She'll be competing for the Region 4 this spring, and then about a year from this, let's assume that she wins the Region 4 award because we think she will, and she'll be competing on the national level for the Career Tech Administrator of the Year. We're very proud of that. One thing we focus a lot at Pioneer Tech on is serving our business and industry customers. The first year I got there, we determined what our biz penetration rate was, how many customers we're actually serving. This doesn't mean we just called on somebody, but we're actually providing services to. And last year that rate was 15.6%. So we put together a goal, Mike and his team did, to increase that penetration rate. And last year we increased that to 22.5% last year. This year the goal is to get that to 25%. So we're very proud of that. Our business incubator is full. I think that's a great indicator of how great the economy is doing in Ponca City. People want to be here. And it's not often that we have every square foot of that space full. You may have heard about Log 10. Log 10 is going into the Connie Lou facility out at the industrial park. They started at our incubator, and they have grown to the point that they need more and more space. So that's a great problem to have for Ponca City. Our enrollment is up. This year, we have about 543 enrollments in our full-time programs. If you look at our total enrollment, and this is including all of our business and industry, adult education programs, this past year we served 12,434 students. That's up from about 11,000 the year before. So we think things are going well. If you look at the placement rate for our graduates last year, we had a 93% positive placement rate. We follow up 6 months after our students complete our programs, and we find out what they're doing. In order to be considered a positive placement, you have to be working in the field that we trained you in. You have to be. That's one option. The other is continuing your education, and the third is going to the military. So we're very proud of that. Last year was our. If you look at the economic impact of our graduates from last year, just looking at the payroll for the people who graduated last year, not counting any benefits, the economic impact to our area was $3.6 million. That's just 1 year's worth of graduates, and those are the salaries they earned. We have a new program this year called the Guaranteed Graduate. We had the first batch of those last spring. Students have to meet a very rigorous set of criteria in order to achieve what we call the Guaranteed Graduate status. It's not something that we give away. They have to earn it the old-fashioned way. And this was the first time we've done that. We didn't have as many as I'd like because attendance is part of the requirements. And we want our students to understand that when they go to work someplace, that's important. Dr. Evans, I think, mentioned the partnership that we are starting with the OSU OKC branch as well as the University Center to begin a new wind power technology program, and we'll hope to do that this spring. I have 30 seconds left, so I'm going to, in that amount of time, I'm going to talk to you about legislation. I think in general what I would tell you is this year we're going to have a lot of challenges. There's going to be 31 new legislators in Oklahoma City this year. 31. That's 20% new people coming in. We're also going to have a new superintendent. We're going to have a new state director of career tech. And if Joe Dorman gets his way, we'll have a new governor. It's never happened that we have new people in every one of those positions that I can remember. And I've been doing this for 33 years. So we know we have lots of challenges. Our goal in career tech will be to try to protect the funding that we already have. We're about 70% locally funded at Pioneer Technology Center. And we get about 24% of our money from the state and 6% from the feds. So we really work to try to protect our local tax base, local ad valorem taxes. So anytime they start talking about tax cuts or tax incentives, then that impacts our ability to be able to serve our customers. So we get concerned about that. We support the governor's initiative on Complete College America that Dr. Evans talked about. It's part of the America Works initiative that she headed up as president of the National Governors Association. But in order to do that, we need to have funding to be able to do that. So I think that probably takes care of my time. I'll be happy to answer any questions. I know you all need to get back to work, so I appreciate you being here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. I tell you, the Pioneer Technology Center is a great partner with economic development in Ponca City, working with David Myers and with the city of Ponca City. It really helps a lot. I do want to thank the city of Ponca City for the facility and for taping the presentation so they can be reviewed. Thank you all for coming. We're just right on time. Have a great weekend.